Linda, I can't hear you.
Hey
Okay,
Lloyd, you
I
got
can.
me?
Good
Okay.
morning.
Good morning. Sorry, I was just having an emptiness conversation. I said, we've got to do this later. I can't do this right now.
Emptiness is a long conversation sometimes.
Venerable Robina should be arriving shortly.
Okay.
So, good morning, everyone in the Gampa. Let me get up here. Good morning, everyone in the Gampa. Woo, look at everybody. So good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. So Venerable Robina should be arriving momentarily. So we'll go ahead and start to wrap up conversation and quiet our minds. And I know it is a little stuffy in here. I keep adjusting the AC and we'll just kind of go with it. So, apologies. We are in Samsara. Um, so just real quick, at the end of the program, the children that are here today will have an opportunity to offer Venerable Robina a kata and receive a gift from her. So they will start the kata offering line. And then for those of you who won't be here this afternoon for the last part of the weekend workshop, you're welcome to offer kata as well. And we have plenty of katas up here you can use if you didn't bring one. But if you are going to stay for the afternoon session, just wait and offer a kata at the end of that. Okay. Because at that point, we'll be offering an appreciation mandala to her. Any questions? Okay, good. Any questions? All right. Yes, Chris? The emptiness thing? Yeah. We need to talk to Venerable Robina about that. Yeah. Feel like if there's anything else I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, just another quick reminder, because I know there are folks who may not have been here during the week for her teachings, but normally, as if you've been here at Kadampa Center before, we prostrate with Geshe Gelik because that's his preference. Traditionally, though, we would wait for the teacher to prostrate and then sit down. And so we'll do that with Venerable Robina. So we'll hold off on our prostrations until Venerable Robina has sat down. That's the more traditional way to do it. Yeah, at least. Fantastic. Yeah. So at the end of the teachings, after the kata line, we can all gather up here around Venerable Robina and get a big group photo with her. And we'll do that with the children as well on their own after they've offered their kata. So we'll do kids first, and then we'll do the whole group. Anything else? Anything else? Oh, and if you're not familiar with prostrations or aren't comfortable doing them, they're not required. So, so don't worry about that. All right. So we should be starting momentarily. And for those of you on Zoom, just a quick reminder that Venerable Robina does have a monitor right in front of her. Then she likes to see her students online as well. So if you are able to keep your video on, I know sometimes there's connection issues and things like that, but if you're able to keep your video on, please do so because the monitor is going to be right in front of her. And if you have, once she opens it up for questions, for those of you online, if you have a question, you can do the little raise your hand icon or just get my attention somehow. And, you're welcome to ask questions as well and encouraged to. Real quick, there are 3 seats on the front row. Normally, this is reserved for our nuns, but they are open for anyone who wants to sit up front. The TV monitor is not going to be right there. It'll be right in front of Venerable Robina. So there's a couple spots. Venerable Robina's arrived.
Sit down, everyone. Okay, hello people on Zoom. Good morning. Good to see you. Yeah. Everybody here. Hope I can see your faces. Move your chairs if not. You don't have to see me, but I'd like to see you. Move your chairs around. Maybe you should do the chairs differently. I always think this, and the trouble, unless I'm much higher, you can't see people and they can't see me. Maybe you can stagger the chairs or something, Linda.
I will.
Really think
Yeah.
about it. Or even have circular or something. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we just can't see each other. You
Right.
can see each other's heads, which might be nice, but nicer to see faces.
It is nice.
You understand?
Oh, yeah. We'll
Don't be
stagger.
nervous. Just move your
We'll
chair.
stagger.
Good morning. Okay. So don't do what I want. You haven't got a little thing you usually do with
No.
Gita, but we'll do different.
Oh.
I do what I like. That's my show, my gig. Okay. So we'll sing a little prayer. And all it's saying is, have these thoughts. You know, the first two lines are a little, for those of us who kind of figure we're Buddhists already, so it's kind of reminding ourselves of our reliance on the Buddha. We call it refuge. But the second two lines are stating kind of like, the Tibetans would say, state your motivation. We'd say, what's your purpose? Why are we doing this? So we think, let's make it the most altruistic. Let's think we're going to do this activity together, listen, think about these ideas coming from the Buddha, and I'm listening too, so that we can take some tools from it. 1% is even enough. It can be a 1% Buddhist. It's okay. And what's its advice? So what's it for? Basically to help us know ourselves well and put ourselves together, become less neurotic and more useful and more kind on the one side. And then that qualifies us for the other job to be of benefit to others. We all live in this crazy world together, you know. And this is the two wings of the bird, wisdom and compassion. So we think like that. Sangye charang soke chognam la jangchu badu dagni kyab suchi dagi chernyen gi pesonam ki drola penchir sangye drupa shok sangye charang soke chognam la jangchu badu dagni kyab suchi dagi chernyen gi pesonam ki drola penchir sangye drupa shok sangye charang soke chognam la Changchu badu dagni kyab suchi dagi chernyen gi pesonam ki drola penchir sangye drupa shok. Well, we've got this weekend course, and one of the topics we're going to be discussing, I thought I'd do it here, but I've changed my mind, just so that those who are doing the course know. There's a thing about how to develop single-pointed concentration, the kind of a key meditation technique. I'll mention it, but I want to talk more broadly. What do we think meditation is and why do we want to do it? You know, it's like really important.
Venerable.
What?
Before, right here, Linda.
Where are you? Who?
Right here.
What?
The children's program is today. Before you delve into single pointed
coming now.
concentration, they can leave. They say for prayers and then they go to their own class.
I'm
So
lost. What are you saying?
yeah, so I just need to dismiss the children before you
What?
jump into
Dismiss
single
the
pointed
children? Oh,
concentration.
You are dismissed. What am I supposed to do? Sit quiet for a minute.
No, they'll just head out and then
I'll go then. You
Yeah.
go.
they're following,
Stay there.
they're following Allie.
Okay. Okay, people. Goodbye. Oh, I see. I understand.
We'll see y'all in a little bit. They'll be back at the
Okay.
end.
Good.
Yeah, so they will offer katas to you at the end and you can give them the gift. Yeah.
So I think there's this big deal about meditation, and I probably think that you'd find, like they talk about, what was it, Heinz, there were 47 varieties or something. Was that an advertisement 47 years ago? 57, was it? Well, there's probably 57 varieties of meditation. And if anyone hears about a Buddhist, we think, oh, you must meditate. So we almost equate a Buddhist with a meditator. So let's look at what it means. And there's even among Buddhism, there's many different approaches, Well, first of all, what's really interesting is the Tibetan word for the verb to meditate is it's the word gom, and it literally translates as the verb to familiarize, to become familiar with. We think, well, that's curious. What do you want me to become familiar with? Well, the Buddhists would say with virtue and wisdom. That's the two wings of the bird. With virtue, goodness, and then with, clarity. And not that's a surprise to us because we think, oh, well, first, one of the biggest ones we think about meditation is it's a method to relax. We think it's a method to make all the miserable thoughts go away. We think it's meant to make the thoughts go away. We think it's to have kind of maybe a vision or some experience. We love talking about experiences. With respect to that, that's superstition, all of that. So in Buddhism, there are two main types of meditation, millions of techniques, but they fall into two categories. And the first one is the one that the world vaguely knows as mindfulness. And again, that's where the 57 varieties come in. So from the Buddhist perspective, it's very specific. And this is in fact coming from these genius Indians before the Buddha. I mean, the Dalai Lama says it was these amazing Indians more than 3,000 years ago who were the ones who began the investigation into the nature of self. And I sort of joke and say we modern Western people arrogantly think it was Mr. Freud 100 years ago. I'm sorry. These Indians have been on the case for quite longer. So Buddha came out of that amazing tradition and then he diverged in his own direction, particularly in relation to his own findings about the nature of self. So these Indians, one of the things, these Hindus, whatever you want to call them, there were many different traditions at the time. They were incredibly sophisticated thinkers, scholars, yogis, amazing human beings. Of course, in our modern, I would say it, white culture, European culture, what do we know about Indians? What do we know about Asia? What do we know about Africa? We're so arrogant, so arrogant. We think we're the center of the universe and we track ourselves back to these clever Greeks. Nothing wrong with the Greeks, but there's more to the world than the Greeks and the Europeans. I mean, there's amazing thoughts and traditions all over the world. So there's only even these days, since the Dalai Lama, I would say, that now modern people are becoming more familiar with these genius Indian thinkers. Incredible body of knowledge that's existing there, So for them, these Indians, the key thing was they cultivated this incredible technique called simply single-pointed concentration. In Tibet, in Sanskrit, samadhi. So what is it? Well, it's a skill. It's called a meditation skill. And in Buddhism, it's the first mode of meditation among the two kinds. Because when Buddha diverged in his own direction, it's just one of the skills he took with him. What it enables you to do is to completely cease the grosser level of your crazy thoughts. We all know from the time we wake up in the morning until the time we go to sleep, our mind is pervaded by thoughts, unceasing, uninvited, and they mostly seem to be negative, unhappy ones. I've never yet met a person who says, Robina, I can't stop thinking good thoughts. Never, I promise you, Sort of kind of ironic, all these crazy thoughts, and they're usually, I'm not so good, and life is not bad, and I'm a disaster, and oh my God, anxious, and this won't happen, and that won't happen. What does he think, and what does she think? They're sort of worried, small thoughts, for some reason, whatever it is. Well, because of their habits. So that this meditation technique, if you really develop the skill of it, and for us to do it properly, you've got to give up sex, drugs, and rock and roll and go to the mountains for several years because it's really sophisticated and needs very specific conditions to do it seriously, but doesn't mean we can't try it and use it every day. what it enables you to do is to completely subdue the grosser level of both all your conceptual thought, all the crazy thoughts, and then also even subdue the level of sensory consciousness. Now that sounds like death to us, you know. It sounds like you're dead. But what these amazing Indians have discovered in this technique, and I think it doesn't exist in any other religion with respect, or in any philosophy, or certainly not in neuroscience or psychology, they end up subduing the level of mind, going to these subtler levels of their own mind. And we're not meaning, mind in Buddhism does not mean the brain, okay? It's a non-physical energy. It's your thoughts and feelings and emotions, but it's got these subtler levels. And this technique enables you, this is what these Indians invented, this technique enables you to access this subtler level. I mean, that alone sounds mysterious to us. Such a level of mind is not posited in neuroscience, is not posited in psychology. But these Indians discovered. So there's a whole bunch of things, but essentially that's the end result of this type of meditation. So how can we use that in daily life? How can it help us? Even 5 minutes of it, you know? So this is technically what the world vaguely knows as mindfulness. There's many types. So let's just look at it really simply and look at how the advantage of it in daily life. So from the Buddhist perspective, why you want to get even some semblance of concentration is so that you can do the main job of learning to know what is going on in your own mind. Now, why would you want to do that? Sounds to us very self-centered, you know, kind of watching your navel. It's because, and this is the key point, from the Buddhist perspective, that what goes on in our mind, all the thoughts and feelings and emotions, and this is quite shocking to us, it's not how we think, that what goes on in our mind is the main cause of happiness and suffering. That's the biggest shock to us. You know, as Lama Zopa says, and this is, again, shocking, think about it, that the vast majority of all humans on the planet have absolutely no idea that what goes on in their mind plays any role at all. Almost seems like impossible to understand it. But if you look at our lives, you know, when things go well and you're so-called happy, why are you happy, Robina? Well, the food was delicious and the boyfriend was kind and the weather was lovely and the job is good and there's money in the bank and I've got a healthy body. So that's what we think is the main cause of my happiness. So then we think, then I can have nice thoughts, happy thoughts. So we think the happy thoughts or the happiness comes from those things. So what's unhappy thoughts? What's suffering? That's when the food is no good and you got sick and your body hurts and the boyfriend's mean to you and you don't get a job and you're poor. That's what we think. Those events, they, as far as we're concerned, are the reasons why we are suffering, why we have unhappy thoughts. So for the Buddha, it's almost like the opposite. He doesn't say that the outside things don't play a role. What he is saying is that if we can, we can learn that what goes on in here, whether it's happy or suffering, okay, whether it's an ugly thing or a nice thing, whether you don't get a job or you do get a job, whether the boyfriend's mean or he's not mean, they can be true. But he says we have the power to change the way we interpret them. So the mind is the main thing from that perspective. It does, you know, changing your mind and learning to have a happy mind doesn't mean the boyfriend's not being mean to you. But that sounds almost ridiculous to us. So, but that's our problem. We are totally believing and therefore reliant upon everything out there being nice. So we spend all our lives trying to make the world, so manipulating the external world to make it nice so we can have happy feelings. And that's when, of course, when something goes wrong, we have a panic attack and the bad feelings come. So we keep trying to change the outside world. So this view of Buddhas doesn't mean you sit there like a passive, silly person and let whatever come. No, you be proactive. You can make sure you get good food and good houses and a nice boyfriend. But what if it changes? And that's what we can all learn and all know. We can get those things, but often they don't last. Your knee starts to hurt. The boyfriend dies. He's mean to you. Things change. And this is one of the main pains of our lives. So yes, absolutely. There's a saying in Buddhism, if you can change something, please change it. But what if you can't? That's the point. That's the key. That's when working on your mind comes into play. And it's not moralistic, it's not religious, it's completely practical, you know. But the trouble is we don't think it's possible to change our mind. We don't think it's possible to change which means change our interpretation of that event. And that even means if the good things happen, because when the good things happen, the Buddhist term for it, when nice things arise, your attachment is running over time. And that's this emotional hunger that suddenly when it gets all the nice things, we cling to those nice things, believing they're the cause of my happy feelings. So I've got to keep having them. And then we're so disappointed and despair when they finish, because things change, So we're going up and down like yo-yos, or we're going from pillar to post, up and down as happy and then unhappy, unhappy, driven by the outside world. I think we know this. And as long as we believe that's the way to get happiness, we'll be in trouble. This is, in a way, the words are easy, but this is one of the toughest jobs to ever do, because we're addicted to the other one, basically addicted to it and believe it totally. So this is why this practical technique comes into play. If what is going on in your mind is important and it determines whether you're happy or suffering, and that's difficult, you need to have a bit of focus. If you're mainly only focusing on the outside and you don't even pay attention to your mind, our trouble in our culture is because we only pay attention to the outside world, we only know we've got a problem in here when we're having a mental breakdown, screaming and yelling and shouting at the husband and having anxiety and panic attack. And then we sneak off guiltily to the therapist to get a pill or something, So even if we don't, one of the most practical results of having a simple 5-minute, mindfulness meditation to start the day, it's good to have discipline, is that slowly, you are able, the benefit of having this technique, and I'll describe, is that you're able to, to develop the habit when you go down to the kitchen after your 5-minute session. You're not just, normally you're only aware of what's happening in the kitchen. You're only aware of the things and the kids and the husband and the coffee and the blah. You're focusing on that. And if there's anxiety in your mind, you notice it when suddenly you hear hubby slurping his coffee, the kids shouting too loud or demanding something, and then you panic and freak out, But if you do some kind of simple technique in the morning, where you're basically, in the mindfulness technique, basically you're training yourself to stay focused. You're training. You're not focusing, you're training. One step at a time. You've got to train. You're determined, and it's completely boring in a sense. And it's very simple technically, difficult to get the beneficial results, but it's really simple. You find something to focus on. And for 5 minutes, you sit there and with determination, you say, I'm going, in this case, the commonest one that they teach is you focus on the breath. It's something that happens naturally. Your breath goes out and your breath goes in. Your breath goes out and your breath goes in. You don't have to make it happen. It's just there. So you kind of anchor all your attention to that. I'm going to watch my breath for 5 minutes. It sounds completely boring, but it's training, because after 3 seconds, you're wandering off thinking about what's going on in the kitchen. So you bring your mind back to the breath, and then you forget about what you're doing. You bring your mind back to the breath. It's training. Just like you learn to ride a bike when you're a little boy. You hop on the bike and before you know it, you fall off. Well, you don't just lie there and look at the sky. What was I doing? You get back on the bike. Then you fall off on the left side and you get back on the bike, and you fall off on the right side and you get back on the bike. Eventually, you can stay on the bike for 3 seconds. This is exactly the same with our mind, because the habit is never to stay focused. The habit is to never stop unceasingly. So the immediate benefit is not that you feel better, is not that all the thoughts will go away, is not that you'll be relaxed necessarily, is not that you'll have a vision and a wow feeling experience, because we mystify meditation. It's a practical, technical skill, I promise. This one, practical, technical skill. Don't romanticize it. Don't even make it spiritual. It's practical psychology. So the goal is, yes, to begin to get some control over the thoughts. But the real benefit that comes, even after 5 minutes, one of the things is, they say one of the benefits of this technique, even they describe it in the text in terms of 9 stages of cultivation, So they say even from one of the benefits of the success from the first of those 9 stages, and most of us won't even get to that point, is that you think your mind's getting worse, but it's not. You're now noticing all your crazy thoughts. So that's why to think that all the thoughts should go away is ridiculous. It's like you go to your garden and you start to pay attention and you think that that'll make all the weeds go away. So just have flowers. You got to notice the weeds first, and then you know what to pull out. Now you know what to pull out. If you've never paid attention before, oh, my garden looks so terrible, and you start focusing, and you're focusing, and you begin to observe the weeds and distinguish them from the herbs and the flowers. Now you know what to do with the weeds. You don't just have a panic attack. Same with your thoughts. Don't be afraid of them. You hear them in the background. You're focusing on your breath. You're trying to stay on your breath. You're trying your best. Stay on the breath. There's the breath. Focus. In, out, and you can't help hear with the chat. That's good. Do not think it's not. Don't be afraid of your crazy thoughts. We've all got them. Join the universe, okay? So in this way, so you're focusing on the breath, and then it doesn't seem to be going to get much benefit. It's quite hard work because you don't stay for long. You space out, forget what you're doing, go to sleep, whatever, even 5 minutes. But you're developing the ability to step outside from yourself instead of being absorbed mindlessly and only noticing the thoughts when they vomit out your mouth and you want to kill your husband, you know? This is really ridiculous. This way, you're focusing, you're stepping back for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and then you stop when you go into the kitchen, have your breakfast, and now, because you're becoming familiar with what's happening in your head, now you're going down to the kitchen and you notice the slurping of the coffee, and before you burst out the mouth and abuse your husband, you notice the angry thoughts. You begin to notice the angry thoughts because the angry words don't come out of your nose, they come out of your mind. They are the expression of your thoughts. And this is our problem if we never pay attention. That's why, like in my life, I never knew I was angry until I was shouting. I never paid attention to my thoughts. Why would I? We're not taught it. So here, it seems like chaotic. Oh my God, my mind's so bad, I can't meditate. Well, yes, you can. You did a great job. You attempted to stay on your breath. Brilliant. And now you're noticing your thoughts. And that's what's good. So then the point the Buddha's making, this is the point that we don't think, I think, in our culture, when we see we've got angry, unhappy thoughts, we see we've got anxious thoughts, worried thoughts, self-hate thoughts. We also know we've got good thoughts. But I always joke, you call them all my roommates, you know? And the good roommates, kindness, patience, love, compassion, self-respect, they're hiding under the mattress. We've got to bring them out, you know? So before you vomit out your annoyance to your husband, you catch your thought, you hear yourself going, oh, there's slurping again. Then you grab it and you think, shut up, Robina. You have a positive thought. Be quiet, Robina. It's okay. He's allowed to slurp his coffee. He's enjoying it. Leave him alone. That's practice. Then the whole problem is solved. You don't have to open your mouth. So that simple example, a simple example. It sounds like a joke, you know. Now, when you practice with the small ones, when the bad ones happen, you lose your job or whatever, or your hubby leaves you, you kind of got some mental preparation to work with what is going on in your head. This is not religion, people. These Indians, these geniuses cultivated this skill. Now we're all jumping on the bandwagon, which is wonderful. But this, from the Buddhist perspective, is the key purpose. So that you can hear what's going on, and then you can begin to distinguish between the words, weeds and the flowers. And the whole reason the Buddha's deal is he's found from his own experience, this is what Buddhism is, he has found from his own experience, he's not a creator, doesn't posit a creator. Having done these techniques and developed this incredible ability to, he says it's possible to lessen and eventually get rid of long-term all the negative thoughts. Now, they're so strong in us, we don't think it's possible. What do you mean change them? It's set in stone. This is who I am. I'm an angry person, a depressed person, I'm a jealous person. I can't do this, I can't do that. It's just not true. So it's hard because these thoughts are very habitual. They seem to run the show, you know. But the key one is knowing they're not set in stone. We can slowly lessen them. And it's not mystical. It's you by bringing your good thoughts out and arguing with the rubbish ones, you know. Honestly, that's as simple as that. As Lama Yeshe calls it, be your own therapist. Of course it's hard work. Every day. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes, like any job, you know. And then your external things in your external world, you'll be less pulled from pillar to post. This is the central idea. Of course, it takes time, but it's possible, I tell you. That's the old idea, you know. But we're very scared of our negative thoughts. And partly we're scared because we think they're set in stone. We think this is who I am. It's unbearable. I'm stuck with it, you know. You know, but the Buddha's view says we're not. We can change. I think that's very encouraging. That's the essence of it. So this meditation, this skill, you know, so how would you do it? Okay. So there's over the centuries, all these great meditators who are advanced ones have found 7 or 8 points that are kind of are conducive for a good meditation. It's good to have the body in the right position. So the body doesn't meditate, remember that. And that's again a problem in our culture. We're so captivated by our body. We make the body the boss, you know, our sensory experiences. So that's a mistake. So some people can sit very quietly and very nicely. If they close their eyes, they feel very comfortable. So they say, oh, I had a nice meditation. Well, no, you felt good and that's nothing wrong, but that's not a meditation. So that's why this technique is not a relaxation technique. If you want relaxation techniques, yoga teaches beautiful ones. Nothing wrong. And nothing wrong, we need relaxing. But this is not a relaxation technique. You need your mind to be very alert, you know, alert and sharp. So it's not to make all the misery go away. It's not just to relax. It's not to have a vision. And it's not the body that meditates, but the body needs to be in a conducive position. So why don't we just do like we'll just do a 3-minute meditation, okay? We'll give it a go. And some of you have meditation, that's okay. We'll do this one. So let's get our body, sort out our body, okay? So the ideal position is right here. What's your name again? Jason. Jason? He's sitting cross-legged. This is the best one. They all say, and even more than that, if you can, this sounds very weird to us, but some of these great meditators, they stay for many days, even longer than that, or hours in meditation, not just spacing out, doing very practical things with their mind. But the Dalai Lama says that's the best position, because when you're able to meditate for a long time, if you're sitting in what they call full lotus position, this is the first point, okay? So you'd have the right leg up on the left the right instep resting on the left upper thigh, and the opposite. That's what's called full lotus. So then if you're in that position, it makes your body very stable and you don't topple over, you know. But so that's the first thing. If you can be that way, and Dalai Lama says it's really auspicious just to start your session, if you can, even for a second, in your legs in full lotus. Have you ever tried it, Jason? You've tried it? Okay. Try it when you're at home. Do it. Just even start the session with that. It's very auspicious. And then relax in the regular position after that. If you can't do full lotus, you have one foot up on the other thigh. That's the first one. The next point about the body, let's go through the body, okay? Check the body. So the first one is the legs. The next one is the hands in what they call the meditation mudra, which just translates as gesture. So I'll show you. There are many positions, but this is the one we learn classically. I'll show you. Like this. Right on top, in your lap. You don't have to. You have them down like that as you wish. But that's the classic position. That's right. Kind of resting. Yeah, that's right. Your arms a little bit out a bit and relaxed. The hands resting. And there's something about that position. Okay, but you can do them on your knee or whatever you like. You know, that's the second point. The third one is your bottom. Okay, what do we call it in America? We call it the bottom in Australia. Do we call it a bottom here? Your bottom. Okay, we don't like to say these rude words. I don't like the other word. B-U-T-T sounds ugly. I don't like that. Bottom is much nicer. So that, depending on your ability, how flexible your legs are, the ideal position is, I mean, we're not brought up with sitting cross-legged, whereas these Asians are, and their legs are very flexible. So if you're in full lotus position, your legs be flat on the ground. So you just need a cushion to prop up under your coccyx, which thrusts you slightly forward, you know, and makes you feel very stable. But some of us can't sit cross-legged. Some of us, if we do, we're not stable. We need a big fat cushion. So you work out what you need, okay? That's your legs, your hands, your bottom. So the next one is the shoulders. They say have your shoulders upright but relaxed. But I want to add to this the whole body. You know, what happens is if we sit upright, we tense all the muscles, and that's a mess. And then if we relax, we flop all the muscles, and that's the other extreme. So I like to put it this way, and this is me talking, not the texts. Think of your skeleton hanging on a hanger. It's completely straight. Everything just hangs perfectly. Not necessarily dead straight because there are curves and things, but it's really upright. But then think of all your muscles and all your flesh relaxing, you know, soft, relaxed on the skeleton. So upright and then flop your muscles. Keep your body upright and then flop your muscles, especially your abdomen. I think we never like to look fat, so we tense our abdomen. Relax your abdomen, relax the muscles, relax your shoulders, but stay upright. Otherwise, you flop, you'll space out and go to sleep, you know. So that's the fourth point. Now, the fifth one, or sixth, seventh, and eighth, three things are the head. This is coming from the experience of the great meditators from centuries that is conducive to a good meditation, because your mind meditates, not your body. So the next one is have your head not thrust back. That makes your mind agitated. Slightly tilted forward, chin tucked in. Next one is your jaw relaxed and lips slightly apart. Okay. And this seems odd, but there's logic to it. The tip of your tongue resting behind the top teeth, just near the palate. All the great meditators have found that when your tongue is there and you're doing meditation for a long time, it just stops you from dribbling. It's very practical. It's not mystical. But if you don't want to put it there, don't you worry. It won't be 3 minutes, so it's okay. Dribbles won't come after 3 minutes. Then the other one is, so teeth, jaw relaxed, teeth slightly apart, tip of the tongue behind the top teeth, and now your eyes. Okay, so again, if your eyes are up in your head, it makes you agitated. So your eyes looking down, but they all say that these great meditators who meditate during the day, they have their eyes open, and so the light can come in and keep their mind sharp. But they've got good concentration. They don't get distracted, but we get distracted. So have your eyes lightly closed, and then your eyeballs looking down as if you're looking along your nose towards the ground. That's the classical position. Okay, so sort of settle into that. Your bottom, your hands, your legs. Of course, for us who are not sitting cross-legged, sit in a chair, but the crucial point, I missed this, the crucial one is don't slump into the chair. Now sit forward, please, and hold up your own body. As soon as you slump, then everything's crunched up. But if you sit upright, you need to sit upright. So have your feet firmly on the ground and sit upright, but muscles relaxed, okay? So bottom, legs, muscles upright, shoulders, chin, head tucked in, slightly chin tucked in, tip of the tongue, jaw, lips open slightly, and the eyes looking down. That's the position. So then you forget all about it, okay? Because that's the body. That's the body, okay? So now I'll talk a bit more to say what to do. It's practical, it's simple, but I'll explain clearly, okay? So your mind has many bits and pieces. Don't just think, I'm watching my breath. My mind's watching my breath. Just think many parts of your mind. So the first bit we want is the part called attention. You're going to pay attention. That's one part of your mind. You're going to pay attention to that sensation at your nostrils. Then there's another part of your mind, and these are the bits that we want to focus on, it's called mindfulness. It's like a little policeman sitting on your shoulder, like your mother, sitting on your shoulder, watching attention. And the moment attention wanders off, like the kid, mum brings them back to the breath. These two bits, think of it like that. Your attention is paying attention to the breath, and your mindfulness is just checking quietly. And the moment attention wanders off, mindfulness grabs it and brings it back to the breath. Don't get too caught up in those ideas, but just think of it that way. You know, there's two of these main parts of your mind working here. So then let's start, and let's first locate that sensation, the thing we're going to focus on. So just do a couple of breaths, natural breaths, not forced, and just locate that sensation. You can see that when you breathe in and out, it's a slightly different feeling. So just locate that general area around the tip of your nose. So take a couple of breaths and just locate that sensation. To be quite precise, that area just at the nose where the breath comes in and out. That's it. So, okay, what we're going to do now, we're going to have a thought. I forgot the thought, even before paying attention, you have intention. I will watch my breath. I will watch my breath with determination. For 3 minutes, I'm going to make the best effort to stay focused on my breath. That's the first thought, intention. Now, next one, pay attention. Pay attention to the breath and have your mindfulness just watching. Pay attention to the breath. Now, that means, because what's going to happen is thoughts are there. Thoughts are never stopping right now. They're uncontrolled. So what happens is as soon as the thoughts come, you forget the breath and you wander off having a conversation. So then mindfulness will notice that and you stop it and you come back to the breath. So don't get guilty or neurotic, because in that 3 minutes, you might need to bring your mind back to the breath 30 times. Don't worry. That's when you fall off a bike. You don't give up after the second time. So you just keep bringing your mind back to the breath. That's the skill. Okay, so just simply pay attention to the breath. Let the thoughts be there. Mind your own business, okay? Leave them alone. Let them come and let them go. Just let them be, okay? And just stay focused on the breath. Take natural, not tense, but natural full breaths, okay? That's the job. 3 quality minutes. And I'll remind you 3 or 4 times during the 3 minutes. Watch your breath. Pay attention. Just keep your mind alert. Just the breath. Bring your mind back to the breath. Doesn't matter how many times. Just keep going. Keep the mind sharp. Let the thoughts just be there. Doesn't matter how crazy they are. Just don't pay attention. Don't force them away. You can't. By focusing on the breath, that means you're not paying attention to the thoughts. So don't want them to go away. That's silly. Don't force. Just keep focused. It's like on the freeway, crazy 6 lanes of traffic. You pay attention right in front of you. Let the other cars, do their thing. Pay attention just to the breath. Okay, that's about 3 minutes, maybe 4. So relax now. So 4 minutes sounds very short, doesn't it? But look at how much effort we put in to pay attention in 4 minutes. That's not pretty good, And it's not, we think, oh, that just sounds self-centered. No, it's not. Because if what goes on in your mind is the main cause of what you do in the kitchen and how you live your life, then you better learn about your mind, okay? And this is the first simple point. You're not doing anything with your mind except to try to stay stable. And that ability keeps growing, that ability to be focused. And as I said, you're not focusing on the thoughts here. You're using the breath as your anchor, and you're stepping out from your thoughts, but inevitably, because you're being quiet, you can't help but hear them. Whereas normally they're there because you're so busy washing the dishes you don't notice. And then when you're bursting out of the mouth, then you notice. Here, this is so good. So you've got to be courageous and know these are my thoughts and I'm happy to see them. I want to see them. I want to identify the weeds from the flowers. And that comes later. That's the skill that eventually comes in your daily life. Even if you never do more than this, I tell you, just practical, a little bit every day, getting better at focusing, and then having this wish to see what's in your mind. Of course, there's way more to do, but to start with this, and to have this courage to know your mind is not set in stone. Your thoughts are not set in stone. So now ask me some questions, if you'd like, about what we've discussed so far. Anybody? Questions?
Questions online, just
Okay,
raise your
yes.
hand.
First of all, as one Melburnian to another, g'day, mate.
Oh, good. Okay, very good. Happy to hear you. Okay,
I actually just want to thank you.
bit close to the mic.
I just wanted to thank you for revealing to me just how much more control I have over my mind after watching you on YouTube,
I'm happy.
and also, coming here as regularly as we can, which hasn't been that regular lately, but
So good. Happy.
so thank you.
What's your name?
My name is Martin.
Martin. Happy to see you. Happy to hear you,
Thank you.
Martin, and glad. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Frankston, so
Frankston.
Frankston.
Oh, good Lord. This is down the road from where I used to live in I brought up in Murrumbina. So I'd go on the Frankston train to get home.
Yeah, I know Murrumbina.
You would, yes. Good. Go on. That's it. Okay, good. Happy
That's it.
to hear you, Martin. Very good. Good on you. Someone at the back there. Someone at the back there, darling. Where? Oh, hello there, yes.
Hello. Is it ever more beneficial to, I know that sometimes you can focus on your navel for your breath, or you can do.
Oh, listen, there's a million
meditation.
things you can do.
Okay, it doesn't.
There's so many. See, the thing is, you can do what you like with all this, but if you're trying to follow a tradition, you follow the steps, you do what they say. So this is one of the first things Buddha taught, using the breath as an example. But as you get more advanced in your meditations, you wouldn't even use the breath or even the navel because it's physical. Once you get in your mind more subtle, you'd focus on different things. So this is a good starting point. And that's the one usually that we're taught,
Is there a sutra that has the steps, like a direct, you focus on these things and then you go.
Well, it probably is, but it's all over the place in the sutras, I'd say. But I mean, it depends on which tradition. I mean, there's many good books. What's his name? No, what's his name? American guy. What's his name? No, not that one. Another one. No, not that one. Another one. Speak out. What? Alan Wallace. There's a really good man called Alan Wallace, who's a professional meditator and a really good scholar, and he's in our tradition. So he's got some very good books on meditation. Really good. Alan Wallace. He's great. Okay. I recommend.
Thank you.
Okay. Someone else at the back there. Yes. Thanks, darling.
I had a question about how you balance.
Bit louder, sweetheart.
Sorry. I have a question about how you balance inner peace and complacency. Because with your example of, let's say, the family member slurping coffee in the morning, you can control in your mind. I mean, that's a very small problem, but you can control if it affects you. But when do you let it affect you to inspire change in systems?
That's a really, really, really good question. Okay. That's a really good question. Sit down, relax. That's it's a good question. So, okay, what we have to do here is distinguish between, let's say slurping coffee is a good start because you start with the small things. Don't wait till your husband wants to murder you before you start. You understand? You start with the small things. So now we look at the world and we see the world as a disaster. There's so much pain, so much suffering. So then we can really easily misunderstand this and think then just let the world be, let it all go, let it all go. That's, as you say, complacency. In fact, it's self-centeredness. It's just ignorance and laziness. So what the key thing is, we must distinguish between the negative neurotic critical mind, which is called anger, and the positive constructive critical mind, which is, oh my God, look at that suffering. Oh my God, look at that suffering. Look at the racism. Look at the injustice. And then you say, what can I do to help? They are completely separate thoughts, but we don't make that distinction. So we think when you stop criticizing, we throw the baby out with the bathwater and end up not caring. That's the worst mistake possible. And all of this is rooted in the Buddhist approach. And when you have, because there's enormous literature in Buddhism about the way the mind works, coming again from these Hindus, very intense and very detailed, incredible, sophisticated presentation of the way the mind works, particularly the level of all the thoughts and feelings and emotions. One of the key facts in Buddhism, the key things about the mind is we can divide all the contents into 3 categories: neurotic, ridiculous, disturbing, distressing, berserk, I-based states of mind, which are the ones that cause me suffering and cause me to harm others. Look at the world. That's anger, attachment, jealousy, resentment, not fair, poor me, self-pity, low self-esteem, arrogance. We know those states of mind. They're the berserk, uncontrolled ones, right? So in this case, the one we're discussing is the one called anger. So anger basically is or even just more mild, the bare bone state of mind called aversion. As soon as attachment is this kind of emotional hungeriness, it wants everything to be lovely, okay? And then as soon as it doesn't get what it wants, so you go down to the kitchen and you've got this assumption that they're going to be nice sounds, and suddenly this ugly sound comes, and then your mind goes berserk. Even before you speak, already the mind is averse. How dare that? Go away, you know, it's aversion. And then when it's volatile, it becomes anger. And then it becomes super criticism. Look at those people. Look what they're doing. How dare they do that? How dare he slurp his coffee? How dare those people bomb those people? And it's angry. But we mix it with intelligent criticism and therefore usefulness. Do you understand me? I always remember when I was an old political activist years ago before I was a Buddhist, and Martin Luther King, who was this amazing human being who did so much to help the world. He was a very patient man. He wasn't passive. He wasn't complacent, but he was brave because he never stopped. And he said, it's good to find fault. As I said before, see the racism, see the injustice. But then he said, then you say, what can I do to help? That's incredible. That's compassion. But it's not anger. And you have to distinguish between intelligent, you know, there is a war. It's a fact. But when we say there is a war, look at those evil people, we can't see the difference. You've got to stop the neurotic, angry part, which distresses you and makes a mess of everything, and keep the criticism, the intelligent criticism, but then add to it, what can I do to help? Otherwise, it's just arrogance, you know? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, thank you so much.
Really
That brought a
important.
lot of
It's a
clarity.
really good point. Thank you. The first thing in Buddhism is, the key point is that when we look at the neurotic states of mind, the first thing to see is that they make me miserable. And that's a surprise to us. Then we can see how they cause us to harm others. But we've got to first see how they make me miserable and want to get rid of them for that sake, not for some moralistic reason. But then not to chuck the baby out with the bathwater. That's the point. It's tricky because they're all mixed together, these thoughts. You understand me? It's a really good point, Tom. What else, people? Online, somebody? No? Yes, here we are. Okay, you next. Yes, yeah, then Wendy next. There's Wendy.
Go ahead.
Wendy wants to give us some advice. What's your advice, Wendy?
My advice is, when I was studying at Antaiji Monastery in Kyoto, and I was first starting to sit, and they were teaching me how to sit, they said, keep your thumbs the width of a rice grain apart,
Oh, okay.
and do not let them collapse. That will help you to control your mind.
Oh, very
and
good.
Keep it still.
I never heard that before.
Really works.
I never heard that. Thank you so much,
Really
Wendy.
helpful.
Very kind. So what was the other question? Where there was somebody? Yes, talk to me, sweetheart.
Hi, yes. So my question is, just from hearing you speak and other talks,
Yeah.
it tends to me be that this is sort of like geared towards like normal, thought behavior. How do you like
So geared towards normal. Explain that.
Sort of like what you think is like a stereotypical, mindset of like, the hamster spinning around the wheel sort of thing. And it's hard for me to like try and figure out how to explain it in the way I think about it. Because I'm very neurodivergent as opposed to like neurotypical stuff. And I find a lot of teachings and things like that I find online and such in books is that it's harder for me to meditate or try to meditate
Yeah.
because like I have like really angry, intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, sure. That's
And
very
so
common.
I'm
That's very
just
common.
trying
Yeah.
to figure out like
Yeah.
if there's like ways to modify like
To modify which bit?
sort of like you know the person up front was like, you know, meditate with the navel and sort of things like that. But what I think I'm trying to ask is
Yeah.
like if you're so bouncing off the walls.
That's right.
Like
I understand you, darling. I understand you exactly.
how based off of what I've been reading, like how do I turn that around so that like I can comprehend like how these things work?
I understand, sweetheart. I do understand. But I mean, all you're saying is that, you know, okay, sit down, darling. What's your name? What's your name? KD. Okay, KD. So you say, you know, you got very berserk, angry thoughts. And I think, I'm not trying to be rude to you, but I think we all tend to think we've got the worst thoughts more than anybody. But my feeling is everybody thinks, do we think we're all berserk a little bit? All uncontrolled thoughts. And the more you pay attention to your breath, you think, God almighty, I'm getting worse. But sweetie pie, KD, you are not. So this is where there's no need to modify. Everyone's got their own mind. You know, if you want to play tennis, it's the same tennis, but you have to adjust to where you're at in tennis. Some people are more easy to do tennis and they can become best Wimbledon players in a year. Some people might take 20 years. So each of us, exactly, the principles are the same. We've all got a crazy mind. We all don't want the crazy thoughts. So, but this is a simple technique that you adjust according to your capacity. So you're watching your breath or your name, I don't care. And you're then going to say, well, my mind's a berserk. I think, well, join the club. It's okay. Let them be berserk. The key thing is we've all got berserk mind, but this very first step is helping us learn by focusing on one thing to not focus on the thoughts or to be absorbed in them, which is how we tend to be. We buy into them and absorb, and then we identify with them. This is me. This is a disaster. So the aim isn't to have a good meditation. The aim is simply to begin focusing on something, to step out of your head and to be able to be slowly from that skill, you gradually bring that skill to your daily life because you stepped out for 5 minutes, you're starting to notice. That's the big skill from it. And so whatever your thoughts are, as berserk as they might be, it's okay, sweetheart. They don't define you because you can also see your good roommates. You've got kindness, right? Compassion, empathy, nodding your head, intelligence. Will give some credence to them. And welcome your crazy thoughts. If we have fear of them and aversion, that makes them even worse. So in a sense, it's bad enough to have berserk angry thoughts, but when we get angry with our angry thoughts, that's double trouble. So one of the first things is to welcome them and know they don't define you. And how about my good thoughts, and bring them out? I'm really serious. Not in the meditation. Here you're training, but in your daily life. Are you with me, Katie?
Sorry, I just had like a little side question on that. Is that I noticed like you were talking about earlier, like wash dishes and things like that. So I've noticed for a long time that when I am like stuck, you know, doing busy work like cleaning and stuff, like I'm very aware of my thoughts. Like I can hear them really
That's right.
loud.
Yep.
But like if, you know, like you were saying, you know, you get busy doing other things, it goes back to like being unaware of it.
That's right. Yeah.
So is there a way to like not stop the thoughts, but like try to like turn the thoughts around when you're
No, so
like,
okay, listen,
focused?
darling. Yes, Katie, but it's one step at a time. This very first step, you got a garden. Okay, you got to listen, Katie. The analogy is we've got a garden full of weeds and a few flowers and a few herbs, and there's a complete mess, and they're all mixed together like a big soup. Number one, so you got to start somewhere. So the first step is to begin to focus on your garden. Right? You've got to start to see what's there, or to focus, and you can't help, therefore, to see what's there. But then it'll slowly enable you to distinguish between the weeds and the herbs. Same with our mind. But it is chaos. It is crazy. And slowly from the focusing, that then we can then move to then start to work with what's in the mind. And it's just as you're saying, but it's one step at a time, Katie. And not to have the wish, I wish it all would go away. I wish all the weeds would go away. No, you got to learn botany. You got to have your, as a friend of mine said, you got to have your hands in your own shit, honey, but be happy to be doing it and welcome the weeds and not freak out about the weeds. Our biggest problem is we can't stand the bad thoughts. We think we're wrong. We have to try and stop those ones. It's okay, KD. This is who I am, but I've got good thoughts and I've got good qualities and I've got good potential. We've got to lift ourselves up and see there's potential there and just keep going. One step at a time. Are you with me?
Yes. So the gist of what you're saying is like to train yourself to focus more on the good thoughts than negative thoughts.
No,
Or like
no,
be
I'm not saying
aware.
either of those.
Okay.
You start with sitting on your boring old bottom, watching your boring old breath. And the benefit from that is you're training, you're getting some discipline to control your thoughts. That's what you're doing. You're getting some discipline not to just mindlessly sink into the thoughts and go berserk. You're focusing on something else called the breath and allowing the thoughts to be there. That already is a tremendous step in the right direction. Are you with me? And as you keep getting better in the daily life, in the kitchen, with the people, with the friends, then you can notice your thoughts before they vomit out the mouth. But not to be afraid of them is the biggest point. I can't stress that enough. Do you see what I'm saying? Bad enough having crazy, angry thoughts, but worse to put yourself down for them. And that's our worst crime against ourselves. The opposite isn't to defend them. Well, I'm allowed to be angry. It's to know they're there, they're habits, but honey child, dear KD, they're not my real nature. I can change. Slowly, 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 slowly. And protect yourself by keeping away from crazy people. If we're kind of berserk, keep away from berserk. Like if you're an alcoholic, you keep away from alcohol, okay? If you've got a crazy mind, keep away from crazy people and protect yourself and be around good, supportive and conditions. That's very important. Do you understand me? Yes, good. Talk to me, sweetheart.
So to just kind of
Who's talking? Where are we? Okay, sweetheart, talk to me. Talk to me.
So for me, what I've noticed is that when I bring myself into the present moment and I stop worrying about the future, I don't have any anxiety.
What's your technique for doing that, darling? Because it sounds very confident.
I just remember who I am. I know who I am. I'm very confident in who I am, what my purpose is. So for me, I am aware that in this present moment, I am sitting here with others who are also here in this present
Okay,
moment.
very good. So do you have a question from this, sweetheart?
So for
No,
me,
talk to me. Just talk to me. Talk to me.
I've
Do you have a
also-
question from this, darling, or are you just giving us a little talk?
No. So it's not a question per se.
Give me a question. Give me a question.
But it's to piggyback off of kind of what Katie.
I know, but
maybe-
I need you to ask me a question, sweetheart. What's your question? How about that? Do you have one? Or you wanting to give advice to Katie? Is that what you're doing?
I guess it's more advice, or
You want to
not
give-
just to Katie, but
No, you don't need to give Katie advice. That's my job.
it's more like
Maybe leave it alone. You've told us some things and it's very nice to hear, and I admire your practice. You're doing beautifully. All right?
perfect.
Thank you, sweetheart. Next person behind there at the back. Yeah.
I had a question about something that I heard you say earlier, that you said meditation is used as a tool, which I obviously understand, but I was thinking that you said the experiences and things like that you can have are all superstition. I was wondering if that's something you were just hitting on to hammer in the point that at
Yeah.
the beginning.
Yeah, I think what I'm saying is in our culture, we get a bit carried away with this idea of meditation. And when we close our eyes, some special thing will happen. I have this weird experience. Wow, I had an experience. I'm being a bit sort of like that. But do you have a point about experience? What are you saying?
I guess I'm curious because I feel like through meditation, I've had some interesting experiences
So
that.
give me an example of what you mean. And first of all, what kind of meditation? And second, what kind of experience, if you'd like to tell us. You don't need to.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say is we don't need to mystify the mind. Maybe special things can happen. I mean, from the Buddhist perspective, we've got countless lifetimes and there's a billion things buried in our mind. And if we give our mind a bit of space, things, of course, will come to the surface. Wonderful, but learn from them. You don't need to tell me anything. So learn from these things, that's all. Not so, wow, I'm not saying you're saying this, but not, oh, wow, I had a meditation experience. Not like that. Many things can happen, but if we don't know what to do with it, we can be in trouble and many people go berserk. So we've got to know what we're doing with our mind. It's a very powerful thing. You with me, people? You with me? You communicating?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Good, good, darling. So, okay, this is good to know. Thank you. Yes, someone else. Where are we?
So
yes.
we're right here.
Yes.
I've used some of Thich Nhat Hanh's work in
Wonderful.
regards
Very
to
nice.
mindful movement. And
Very nice.
so is that, well, I'm asking you because
Yeah.
I want to know, like,
Yeah.
if you're not sitting and meditating, right? And then you're like doing the dishes as you mentioned, rather than focusing on the positive and all that, or negative thoughts, whatever coming up, but focusing more on, okay, I've got the hot water, I've got the soap.
I understand. Listen, when I first heard the Buddhist teachings, I was about 31. I thought meditation was the most boring, stupid thing on the planet. I had absolutely no interest. And for the first many years, I never sat on my bottom once. But I wanted to know my mind, I wanted to be useful, and I loved the Buddhist teachings. So you've got to go according to your pace. So I'm talking about it now as a simple 5-minute thing, 3-minute thing. But I thought it was a stupid. I had no interest. So that doesn't mean I'm not a Buddhist. It didn't mean I want to work on my mind, but while I'm doing the dishes, while I was doing my work. So each person is completely different. Some people are really good at it. Some people, we all got to find the way that works. I did not sit on a cushion. No way in the planet. So if you're that kind of person, use your energy in other ways. You know, absolutely, darling. The bottom line from the Buddhist perspective is to use any methods we can to identify what the hell is going on in our head, then learn to distinguish between the weeds and the flowers, and then learn to have the ability to change, pull out the weeds and grow the flowers. That's a simple way to put it. That's the bottom line. Any damn technique, sit on your head, I don't care. Whatever works for you. Are you seeing what I'm saying? Okay, that's my answer. Yes.
Getting back to the person's question about the difference between being calm or complacent, and you said that you can generate, cultivate your mind so that you can
do what?
You can cultivate your mind, the positive thoughts, so that you can be have more equilibrium. How about this?
I don't know I didn't say any of those words. What are you saying? What do you mean?
I guess.
I didn't say any of. I never used the word equilibrium once.
Okay.
So what are you saying?
Well,
let's ask the question.
My question is, when you're trying to think about what you can do to help a situation.
Okay, so you're talking on the compassion side now.
Right.
What can I do to help?
Right.
Okay, now
And sometimes
Go
it's
on.
something physical you can do, but a very common thing we hear about, I'm sending you my thoughts and prayers.
Okay.
So how does that connect? Like, what does that mean? And if we're sending thoughts and prayers, is that doing something? Is
I
that
understand, yeah.
groups out
I understand you.
meditation?
I understand you. I remember when before I became a Buddhist, I heard about this transcendental meditation. This Hindu gentleman who taught this in the West, they called it TM. And they said that one of the things, yeah, that's that one. So one of the things he said, that was very interesting, he did all these experiments and things, and they said they've discovered if they've found a certain percentage of people did some practice every day in the same area, it brought a shift in the area. And I feel that's really common sense. If you walk into a room where people have been fighting and they all stop talking as you walk in, that's what we say, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife, we say. So that's the mind, right? And everybody's negative mind. And they're not saying a word. And we're not clairvoyant, but we can know their minds are full of anger. So if you walk into a room, you say, wow, such lovely feeling between those people. And that's just their mind. So if that's true, then it makes complete sense that if you have positive thoughts, even the simplest level, it can be of benefit. Or even if you're just showing empathy with that person, it gives them courage. I'm thinking of you. That makes them so happy. Even just that alone is fantastic. First of all, even before the good feelings, before even the good energy or whatever. So the other one, of course, if you have the view that there are Buddhas existing in the universe, if you're a Christian, it's God. There's energy that's real, that exists. and the function of that energy is compassion, and you buy into that, and you make requests that they bless, they'll do their job, baby. I think so. Do you see my point? Does that make sense? Do you accept that?
Yes, it does make sense. And that's what I was hoping to
Bit
hear.
close to the mic.
That's what I was hoping to hear, because I do believe that when you generate positive thoughts, prayers, whatever you want to call it.
Even just that alone, forget about whether you,
changes
there's no question.
Yeah.
It seems obvious that one about cutting the energy with a knife is so clear. They're not saying a word, and you know their thoughts are full of rage or, heavy energy. We know that. It's very fascinating. It is very fascinating. Yeah. But the one of the Buddhas being present and holy beings being present, wow, that makes sense. Their job is to be compassionate and act and to benefit, For sure, that's what I think. Yeah. Someone else. Yes, talk to me.
What is your personal, have you ever experienced the power of dreams? Like, what is your perspective on
Dreams.
Yes.
Okay, let me give you a quick analysis of what that is from the Buddhist perspective, and particularly in the more sophisticated, the Vajrayana teachings in Buddhism, which are practiced in Tibet, the more advanced teachings, the more esoteric teachings. The way they describe our body and mind, they talk about we have gross consciousness or mind, which is our sensory, okay? Our sensory experiences. That's the grossest level. And that's inextricably linked to this gross body. So that's the level most of we function at. Now we go to sleep and the senses have ceased, haven't they? So now we've got the subtler level is mental consciousness, and that's all our thoughts and feelings and emotions. So clearly we experience those while we're awake, but that's when we experience those exclusively, only when the senses have gone to sleep, and that's when we have dreams. So of course they're weird and wacko and strange because the mental consciousness is much more subtle and the senses aren't there to filter them. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why we can fly and do weird things, and the sense of time is different, the sense of space, everything's different because the senses aren't functioning. That's your subtle consciousness. So most of us can't control any of that, but as we get progress in more advanced stages of concentration and meditation, these greatest yogis can go to that subtle level and use their mind at a much more powerful level, and that it is more powerful, and it can be trained. So we can learn from our dreams, no question. Because the Buddhist view is, and of course, remember the Buddhist view says our mind goes back and back to countless lifetimes, so that everything we've ever seen, heard, thought about, tasted, touched, or smelt is stored in our memory. And I don't mean the brain here. All countless past lives are all stored there. So because we live at a very gross level of our mental consciousness, which is conceptuality, we don't remember 99% of it. We don't remember 99% of today, and it's only 11:30. If you had to account for every second of what you thought and done since you woke up, we'd be miserable failures because we live at a very gross level of mental consciousness. But when you've trained your mind and become more sophisticated and more pure, you can access the subtle level, which is you can see the past, you can see the future. That's not hippy-trippy. This is all part of the deal, So this is an incredibly powerful level of our mind. So we can learn from what goes on there because it can be telling us things. Memories can come up and things can come up, and people have often clairvoyant dreams. That's all possible. We can learn from our dreams, definitely. You with me?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Someone else. Over here. Wendy has something to ask or something to say. Wendy, I want to know if it's advice or a question before you start. Which is it? I don't want advice. I want a question.
A question.
Yeah.
When you were here before, you mentioned that some animals could be demonic. And
I don't remember saying that.
I thought that was a wonderful thing because I had just watched 2 dogs cause a divorce in a family. And
Okay, I don't want to hear. What is there a question from it, Wendy?
the question is, is that really true?
What?
Is it really true that animals can be a
I have no idea. I don't remember saying that, Wendy. I don't remember,
effective-
darling. I don't know. I don't know is the answer.
What about meditators?
What about them?
Having animals in their homes.
I don't know, sweetheart. I have no thought about that.
All right.
None, no at all.
All right.
Any other questions?
Gotcha.
Back over here, there's a question. Yes.
So I was wondering, is the overall purpose of meditation is to recognize the subtle level,
Recognize the what, sweetheart?
the
Subtle. Okay,
Right,
no,
yeah.
the general job of a Buddhist, the broad term job of a person who calls himself a Buddhist is to lessen neuroses and grow the virtue and eventually become a Buddha and literally, or Sangye in Tibetan. And the etymology of that tells us very clearly what that means. Basically the Buddha has found from his own experience that all the negative, unhappy, miserable, I-based, crazy, ego-based, fear-based, suffering states of mind are not at the core of our being. They cause us suffering, and he's found the methods to get rid of them. So the bottom line is to rid the mind of the rubbish long term and to grow the goodness and the wisdom and the clarity and the kindness and the compassion. That's it. And any technique we use that helps us do that, go for it, baby.
Thank
Do you understand my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, good, good. Yes, someone else. Yes. Yes. Tell me.
Can you delve a little deeper on how the form of meditation you taught about today connects to the idea of no self?
It doesn't, but it's a technique that enables you to get the mind more subtle, and then you stop the concentration and go to the second mode, and that's where you then practice the insight type of meditation, what's called vipassana. There's only one kind that's mostly known in the world. So this is where the two types of meditation come in. The first kind is you train your mind to be more subtle and more focused. And now you use that focus like the microscope of your mind. You stop the focus, you go to the second mode, and on the basis of all the teachings and everything you've learned about, which we've been discussing this week and which we're going to be discussing after lunch, we learn to look into all the understanding of how things exist, and then we learn to meditate and get insight into the concept of no self. That's what we're going to discuss after lunch. So you want to come to that session and we'll learn all about it.
Okay, thank you.
All right? Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Regarding laziness,
we talked about laziness yesterday. Go.
how do you discern between when you are pretending that you can't do something and knowing that you actually cannot do it?
I know that's a really good question, because we always say, oh, I can't do this, it's not possible. And it's rubbish. Of course we can. So we have to that's the one, the laziness is sort of putting off persevering, and we got to get off the hook, But when we don't know how, so then the other one is when you actually don't know how. But okay, I don't know how yet to realize all these high things, but to start to say, oh, I can't do that. Technically it's true now, but I can take the steps. So the confident one is I can do that, but it's one step at a time, and I learn the steps to get there. That's the confident one, isn't it? It has to be that way. Has to be that way, otherwise just give up on everything. You see the difference? Yeah, good. Someone else. Someone else. Yes.
I've got a question.
Hello, yes.
What's the difference between meditation versus chanting mantras?
Okay, very nice. Good point, yeah.
Is that just
Thank you.
prayers?
Thank you. Yes, very good. So I think there's different, okay, if we're looking at the broad job of being to lessen my neuroses and grow my goodness, you with me? That's the general job. Then doing things like saying words and saying prayers and saying mantras, positive sounds and positive words, that's fantastic practice. And we can do that throughout the day. You're sitting doing the dishes and you're getting mad at hubby, say, shut up, mate, and you just say a few kind thoughts or say a mantra. Perfect, amazing. Blesses your mind and blesses your body as well. Fantastic. Okay. And you could argue that's a meditation too. It is, surely. Go, darling, talk.
It's always best to meditate in a quiet space, but what if you're in a busy city and you don't have...
Say it again, a bit closer to the mic.
I'm assuming you always meditate, if you can, in a quiet, calm space, maybe get up early or something if you have a lot of...
If you can, but if you can't,
you can't,
don't worry about it. Just do whatever you can. You even go to sit on the toilet for 2 minutes while the family going mad and watch your breath for 2 minutes, or say a mantra while they're all going berserk. The thing is, as long as we keep getting more concentration, we have more and more awareness of our crazy thoughts and can stay stable in the chaos. Okay. Not go from pillar to post. And then you do whatever techniques you can to help yourself settle, Yeah. Okay, not let the words come out. So mantras are great. I love saying mantras. It really helps your mind, it's fantastic. So I want to teach you another meditation before we finish, just a little one, which is it uses a bit of conceptuality. It uses kind of a bit of visualization, but it's really helpful. And it's a classic one all the Tibetan lamas use to say that it's a really good technique to start other practices, So this is called the 9-round breathing. I want to just tell you it, really. I'll tell you first, and then we have a quick little go at it, okay? And you can do this, again, it's a proactive type of technique. It's very nice, and it's using the breath. So basically, the 9-round breathing. And so the first, it's using your breath, and as you're visualizing, and it's focusing on the three, what they call in Buddhist psychology, the three poisons. Ignorance, which has many functions, this kind of neurotic sense of a concrete me. Then you have attachment, this emotional hunger to get what that ridiculous me wants. And then you have aversion, which is the panic attack when it doesn't get what it wants. It's a bit like that. So ignorance, attachment, aversion. So the first 3 breaths, you visualize, the first 3 breaths we're going to deal with attachment. The second 3 we're going to deal with anger. And the third 3 we're going to deal with ignorance. So the first 3, you imagine, you breathe out, you visualize all the air going out of the right nostril. And it's all the which one is it? I forget. I always forget. Oh, no, so you got to breathe in first, don't you? So the first, forget the breathing in, we'll do that in a second. The breathing out, you breathe out through the left, the first 3, and you just imagine all the attachment energy, all the emotional hunger, all the neediness, all the expectations, all the low self-esteem, all the possessiveness and anxiety, all that's attachment energy. You imagine breathing it out as like yucky smoke, every atom of it disappearing into space. First 3. Second 3, you visualize through the right nostril all the anger, irritation, annoyed, upset, frustrated, depression, despair, all the aspect of aversion, out like yucky smoke through your right nostril. 3. The third 3 is through both, and it's this ignorance, uncaring, indifferent, kind of stubborn, stuck energy. 3 times out. Okay? Left, attachment. Right, anger. Ignorance, both. That's the going out breath. So then you can add to that, when you breathe in, you can breathe in through the opposite nostril. So that'll be the first one. Breathe in through the right. You breathe in all this radiant light, all the positive, opposite to attachment energy, positive energy of the universe, your own potential. And you breathe it all in, blissful light coming through your right, going all the way, filling you up, and then it drives out all the rubbish attachment energy through the left nostril. And the same with anger, but the opposite. The same with ignorance, but both. Is that clear? Attachment left, anger right, and ignorance both. And we've all got all of these, so just be human. We're all in the same boat. And it's just this kind of aspiration, this wish, get all this rubbish out of me. It's not set in stone, and breathe it out and imagine disappearing into space. Breathe out all the rubbish, and then breathe in all this blissful light, which is like your potential, or if you want to call God, you want to call Buddha, doesn't matter what you call it yourself, whatever you like. Breathing it in, and it drives out all the rubbish, kind of circles around, okay? Do it at your own pace. You're thinking and you're focusing and you're using your breath. So it's a mixture of a few things, and it's a nice little technique to do, okay? And if one day you're very jealous, you can do that. You can breathe out all the jealousy rubbish. You can breathe out all the anger, all the hurt. You can do it. You can just make it up yourself. You understand? Use your own thing. So this one, just a bit of that, and then we finish at your own pace. And if you forget where you're at, just start again. Don't worry about it. And not force the breath, okay? One, especially attachment is anxiety. Anxiety is attachment. Neediness, anxiety, worries, fears. That's a major way we function about attachment, So that all that rubbish out through the left. All the aversion, go away, can't stand it, get off my back, that kind of frustration, upset, all that out through the right. Okay, that'll do. A little taste, and you know how to do it. You can do it at home. So why don't now talking about mantras, why don't I finish with singing a mantra? Okay, we'll do the compassion mantra, not a little meditation. And we say the compassion mantra, we'll sing it in Sanskrit, or Mani Padme Hum, we'll sing it a few times. Compassion. Imagine that's the energy and you're speaking it and sending it out. And imagine the whole universe blessed. Imagine light going out and blessing the whole universe, bringing compassion and love and kindness to everybody. Okay, just want that. So of course you're the beneficiary straight away having those thoughts. It's amazing, you know. And then you make aspiration that people are happy. May they be happy. May they not suffer. We just sing a few times, okay? Second. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Okay. Bit early, but that's it. So even if 1% made sense, fantastic. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Everyone hold tight. We're going to have the children
yes.
come in.
Children, yes.
And then for those of you who aren't staying after for the afternoon session, you're welcome to offer a kata after the children.
No need for katas. No need.
Okay. It's okay if the children do that.
Oh,
Right? Yeah. We're ready. Hang on. Wait for Allie.
Do I have something to give them? No. Nothing. Okay. Do I have something to give them? A chocolate or something? Something useful. Like what? Oh, the books. Oh, good.
Don't look at me.
Do you know if anyone got any photos?
He might have. So for those of you coming back, we'll start back at 2:00 and it'll go from 2 until 4. And you're welcome to have lunch here. So if you brought anything, you can stick around. If you want to go out to lunch together, that's fine too. And you can talk about the teachings. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks, everybody on Zoom and YouTube. We'll
Okay,
start
and,
again at 2 for those of you who are coming back for the workshop.